and welcome everybody to another episode of Transform Your Practice, Transform Your Life. My name is Kristina Schneider, and I'm a practice success coach here at The Ultimate Estate Planner. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed already to our podcast, make sure that you do so that you don't miss an episode. And today's episode is a funny one. It's called Why Small Firms Should Do Away with PTO. What are you talking about, Kristina? Are you saying that we should not allow employees to take time off? I am absolutely not telling you that, just to make that clear. What I'm saying is that as a small firm, whether you're a law firm or you're any kind of business, to be honest, employees taking unexpected time off can be some of the most difficult challenges to overcome. Why? Because you can be short-staffed. You may not have enough coverage. Think about a restaurant. If everybody that was on shift called out sick and they couldn't bring in the other workers, how would they be able to even operate, right? The same is true if you have a small law practice. If you have a small firm and you have 2 or 3 employees and they're all out unexpectedly, the impact on your firm may be that you can't hold your meetings. You can't have someone answering the phones. You may not be able to actually even do business. And so what I'm telling you is that you can't always prevent the unexpected absences, but I am not a big fan of labeling time off for employees PTO or personal time off. And I had a lawyer client of mine who used to differentiate between sick and vacation time. And what he told me was, I had an employee who called out sick, and then he went to a football game that evening and then saw his employee there and was definitely not sick, was having a blast. And he was very upset. And he said, I don't want to have to differentiate. Are you really sick? Are you not sick? And I said, well, listen, the problem is that when you have PTO, if somebody calls out unexpectedly, they are still utilizing their time off appropriately. And unfortunately, what it does is it does encourage people to, I'm thinking of like Super Bowl Monday, the Monday after Super Bowl. All of a sudden, everybody is not feeling well and they have headaches and they'll be in a couple hours late. Well, a couple hours late is certainly better than being out the entire day. But the problem is now you don't have coverage and everyone's out and you've got clients coming in and clients calling and et cetera, and your firm is essentially shut down. And so here, our law firm, as well as Ultimate Estate Planner, we do differentiate between sick and vacation time. And the difference is that the way we differentiate the two is that vacation is time requested out of the office that is approved in advance. It is approved by management in a logical way that typically ensures coverage, ensures that, if you're going to be out even for, let's say, a week, that you've taken care of all the things that you need to take care of, that if there's anything that is going to happen that could pop up, or any matter that you may be working on that may pop up while you're out, can be properly addressed, that those are all covered, right? They are anticipated, they're expected, they are approved in advance. Sick time is essentially anything that potentially was not approved in advance. So, for example, I have a dentist appointment later today and I have to take 15 minutes off to make sure that I get there in time. I approved that in advance. A couple of weeks ago, I got a phone call to confirm a doctor's appointment the next day that happened at like 10 in the morning. So I had to make sure I could drive there in time. And it was really hard to get into that doctor. I don't know why I didn't have it on my calendar. And I did not request it in advance. And I utilized sick time in order to accommodate that unexpected absence, right? So it's two different things. And essentially, we don't question whether you're sick enough to really take sick time. It's in my mind, sick time can also be you're just mentally exhausted and you just need a personal day to kind of catch up on things and take care of yourself. But the difference is that you are counting that as a sick day. And so the way our company essentially does sick versus vacation, that's essentially how we differentiate the two. But we have less sick days than we do vacation days. So our standard, and I just have to come with this legal caveat that you need to definitely check your state and local regulations about what you are required as a business to provide in terms of sick or vacation or time off in your state for your employees. They usually vary by the type of employee, the hours worked, if they're full-time or part-time, how big your company is. All of these factors can make a difference in what you're required to do as an employer. So I do have to mention that. But what I'll say is that what we do is, if you are first hired in our company, you are given 10 days of vacation hours to utilize in a given year with only a max of 10 hours that can roll over. That's another tip here is you don't want to get as a small firm. You hear all these, I know my mom used to work at a university and she had like, I don't know, something crazy, or she would tell me all the time that she would have, professors or other employees that had, 500 or 600 hours of PTO built up. And I'm just like, man, if they ever retire, if they ever quit, if something happens to them, the financial hit that those companies are going to take is going to be huge. And so the same with small businesses. You cannot have a situation where you almost like maybe are scared to even, fire somebody because you would have to pay out like 6 months salary on them in order to accommodate that. So you want to have some of these parameters, and you can't legally in most states say it's use it or lose it. You have to essentially say that they are capped at the number of hours they can accrue. And so that essentially becomes like you've got to use your vacation because you're not going to be accruing beyond that. So, yeah, so we only allow up to 10 days, which is 80 hours of vacation to forward into the new year. And so that's one parameter that we put in place that protects us as a small business. But the other thing that we do is sick days. All employees, regardless of tenure, are given six sick days per year. And so they, again, they are intended to be coverage for all those unexpected absences. And sometimes you can, you might go home with a headache. And so it's not obviously a full day. So we obviously break it out into hours per year. And then what we do as essentially a benefit and a reward is at the end of every year, we pay out on sick time. So it's essentially a reward to say, hey, congratulations, you've been healthy, you've been reliable, you've been dependable, you haven't been had to call out unexpectedly, which impacts our business. We're rewarding you with paying you out at the end of the year, which for me personally, is always a nice little bonus at the year end. So I will tell you that I have seen firms lack coverage, have to shut their doors down for a day or two because of the inability to have coverage, simply because of this issue. And you may not have experienced it in your firm yet, but it is a big reason why I am a fan of differentiating between sick and vacation. And again, sick, I don't care. If you want to go to the Lakers game and you need to leave a little bit earlier in order to do that, you go do that. It's unexpected. You are taking sick time in order to do that. If you are out for multiple days in a row, again, from a legal standpoint, check your state labor law rules. You can sometimes require some kind of doctor's note of some kind to verify if they need more, days off. It may potentially be something that you may do as unpaid. If it's something where, they are very sick, they are, something with like pneumonia and they ended up having to go to the hospital or something, and they don't have the sick days to accommodate that, you might be, as an employer, willing to say, hey, we can anticipate in advance you are out the rest of the week. I'm going to count vacation days towards that. So you have some flexibility to work with people, but on the whole, the intention behind a differentiation between sick and vacation is to ensure that your firm has the proper coverage so that it doesn't impact your operations. You don't have to close your office, close your doors, or God forbid, be an attorney answering your own phone and serving up coffee to your clients when that's just not a good use and effective use of your time. So that's what I got for you today. If you found this episode helpful, it is this type of practice management advice that you simply don't learn in law school that we cover in a 2-day packed MBA crash course for estate planning lawyers. The things that we cover are certainly geared towards estate planning lawyers, but we have found that small business owners of all kinds could certainly benefit from the things that we cover in this 2-day event. If you're interested in learning more about our next 2-day event, be sure to visit our website at www.ultimateestateplanner.com. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to continuing to help you unlock your practice's potential. Goodbye, everybody.